On only the second day of the 2021 NBA season, fans were treated with an early Game of the Year candidate. Jaylen Brown and Julius Randle were unstoppable in a game that lasted into double overtime. But when we dive into the film, it's clear to see that this game should have concluded much earlier. In today's full game film analysis, we'll be covering these topics. I'm Ballboy, and let's get started. Let's start with Fournier tagging the roller. He recovers and gets a great contest, but Brown still drains the shot. Not much you can do there. The Knicks' new backcourt can certainly score. Maybe not here, but the big question is the defense, which Kemba Walker is trying to silence here. Normally, I wouldn't focus too much on a player's individual performance, but I did want to display Fournier's, as his talents were obscured by playing in Orlando. It doesn't take long for his first defensive mistake though, as he messes up a switch here. And then tries to play defense that only works in 2K. He is able to take Robert Williams off the dribble though, and he's one of the best perimeter defending bigs in the league. Just watch this defensive clinic from last year's playoffs. The Knicks' defensive game plan was to nullify Tatum at all costs, as you can see Randle completely leave his man to help force the turnover. It is a basic coaching fundamental to never leave the strong side corner open, but here Randle is doing it to help on Tatum. Back to Fournier, and we're able to see his ball handling skills as he lobs it up to Walmart Jared Allen. With Fournier leaving the Celtics, it allows Romeo Langford to finally see the floor. Here he plays excellent defense on Randle. All we can hope is that he stays healthy. Langford should be really clamoring for more minutes though as he executes a pre-switch. And then makes a really good play on Randle. And we'll end the first quarter with some nice Jaylen Brown handles. Now in the second quarter, Rob Will gives quickly way too much space. This is going to be worth monitoring as the season goes on. I'd like him to play close up so he could bait a blow by and get a block from behind like in this clip, but it may just be an adjustment to keep him out of foul trouble. It's halfway through the second quarter and the Knicks have limited Tatum to only 3 shots. On this shot you can see quickly overloading. Knicks are down 11, and Randle decides to go nuclear as he bodies Grant Williams twice. Normally this would be Horford guarding Randle, as Grant claims he has lost weight in order to guard the perimeter better. Now here is the play of the game. Randle's asking 4-time All-Star Kemba Walker for the ball up court. The Celtics are trying to stop him, and he knows this, so he uses his opportunity to become a playmaker and leaves a nice dime for Mitchell Robinson. The Celtics need a solution, and of course it's Robert Williams. Now it's time for Marcus Smart to do Marcus Smart things. Quite the sequence here from Robert Williams as he's able to tip the ball on a player 3 inches taller than him, then hop steps into a nice dime. Williams keeping up his excellent play, now performing a ghost screen. Robinson is caught out of position and it results in a lob. And then Robert Williams making Julius Randle's life hard again. This is nice to see for the Knicks, a 1-4 low set for Kemba. You're certainly not running this set for Elfrid Payton. Grant Williams is tired of getting bullied, now he's starting his redemption arc. Randle's brilliance doesn't stop, he sucks in Nesmith and Brown, leaving Bear open for 3. A bit confused by the next 2 sequences by Coach Udoka. I love Grant Williams, but the man can't jump over a rock, so I don't know why he's rolling. This ruins the spacing for 2 possessions straight. Luckily the Celtics have Jaylen Brown, he goes 1-on-4 to start the 4th quarter. Awesome stuff here by Rob Williams. Normally a big would turn this over, but his fast reaction leads to a 3. Schroeder switches late here and Pritchard dies for his sins. And I think everyone in the arena knew that Robert Williams was blocking this one. Here's Kemba not being very nice to his old teammates, showing them his perfect understanding on how to reject the screen. Midway through the fourth quarter, Evan Fournier decides to make 2 great defensive plays in a row, passing to Obi Toppin, who had a good game. The Celtics are at a complete loss with Julius Randle, so they go back to single coverage. This is not what they had in mind. Grant Williams did a little better job in the second half, but he stood no chance here. 4 minutes left and we get the whole Marcus Smart experience. He takes a terrible shot, but he makes it up immediately on the other end. It took deep into the fourth quarter for the Celtics to finally stick Robert Williams on Randle. I can't blame them though, because they have no one else for Mitchell Robinson. Kemba takes his second charge of the game, probably his last good defensive play of the night. After throwing the ball off a Knicks defender, Jaylen Brown does it all by getting to the rack. Now down 3, Jaylen Brown loses the ball out of bounds. It was a close call, but he honestly deserved to lose the ball, and I'll show you why. Not only is he falling for the famous forced baseline defense of Thibodeau, but it's just poor court awareness. If you try to go down middle, it allows for a potential kick out to shooters, but most importantly, an angle for a lob to Rob Williams, who had a mismatch. If you thought Brown's turnover was bad, Kemba one-ups him. All he has to do is simply hold the ball, even if it leads to a bad shot. Instead, the worst possible outcome ensues and Grant Williams reads his mind. Showing too much love for his former teammates, Kemba gift wraps his ball for the Celtics. Up 4 with 30 seconds left, Evan Fournier is being a good teammate, doesn't want Kemba to feel the burden of bad defensive plays, so he tries to halt Marcus Smart out of all people. Marcus Smart gets a good pass to Rob Williams and he goes up strong. Ben Simmons should take a note. The Knicks have it out of bounds, and I had to go into replay multiple times to figure out how the Celtics had such a bad defensive breakdown. But I actually found out that it was ironically well defended by the C's. Everyone is denied, up until the point where Brown unluckily gets his foot stepped on by Randle, which causes Fournier to get a couple steps on him. Unlucky break for the Celtics. I'm not trying to be a highlight channel here, but Jaylen Brown hits a stupidly difficult shot from the logo to put the Celtics within 3 points. Well, there's no way the Knicks could possibly screw this up, right? Well, Jason Tatum slips, it baits in Evan Fournier, Kemba turns around for no reason, and Smart is able to hit the game-tying 3. Starting overtime, and Jason Tatum goes underneath a handoff to Fournier. Everyone else is confused. Now Fournier sees Marcus Smart overplaying him on the handoff, he turns around and hits the 3. The Celtics might need some glasses thinking Evan Fournier is Tony Allen as they go underneath the screen twice. As we know, the Knicks have been shadowing Tatum this whole game. Julius Randle makes this one painfully obvious, leading to a Marcus Smart 3. It doesn't matter if you're both 3rd overall picks from Duke, RJ Barrett drills a 3 in Jason Tatum's face. Robert Williams sets a brick wall, then immediately sets up Tatum for a 3. You love to see the big man moving the ball. And I really want to compliment Robert Williams more, but you can see him visibly out of position on his out of timeout play. But Randle's gonna test Williams again, and of course it's not happening. Now here is where the Celtics should have ended it all. Tatum calls ISO, and little did he know that this would ultimately lose the Celtics the game. You may ask, well, what's the problem? That's Jason Tatum, and he's clutch. And yes, I would agree, but in this specific situation, there's a difference. Every hooper knows that going ISO is different from calling ISO. When you call ISO, you're telling everyone I am shooting a shot everyone get the away. And remember, Julius Randle was shadowing Tatum the entire game. That means Robert Williams has some space between him and Randle, and that space gives him a good attempt at a tip-in game winner. Look at him, he knows it too. Knowing that they're not getting the ball, all of his teammates shift to the right to give him the most space as possible. This also lets the defenders know that everyone on the perimeter is not a threat anymore. Mitchell Robinson, knowing that his man Schroeder has no chance of getting this ball, allows him to sink freely on Robert Williams, who's the Celtics' only advantage in this situation. If it wasn't for Mitchell Robinson's weight on Robert Williams, I'm sure he would have been able to tip that in. So because he calls ISO, nobody's able to shift this way. So most importantly, it takes away that Robert Williams advantage, and also doesn't get smart in quick enough position after Kemba goes for a double team. And now we're heading to an exhausting double overtime. So now we're in double overtime, and Robert Williams sets a pretty nice screen on Randle, and he reads his mind and brushes him out of the way so that Jaylen Brown could get a three. After such a nice game from Robert Williams, he gets his first foul in the most inopportune time. Tatum comes back with a really nice drive though. Really glad to see him not settle for a jump shot or push someone off like he used to. I guess that means he's getting swole. With how bad the Celtics defense was all game, how fitting is it that in its final moments, a blown switch is what costs them the game. Now this is funny. That last possession is still rent-free in Schroeder's head. Look at him screaming at his teammates. And then in mid-defense against Derrick Rose, he does a baby tantrum hop, throws off his footing, and Derrick Rose blows past him. Well, that's how you lose the game.